I wanted to make this episode for anyone feeling like they're going through complete chaos right now. It's currently eclipse season and we're experiencing the Pisces and Virgo axis, which is all about health. So if you've had any weird health scares, this is completely in alignment with the energy that we're all facing right now. Personally, I've had a huge health awakening, realizing how important sleep is for my longevity here. I had the Pisces lunar eclipse activating my 8th house. The 8th house in astrology has to do with deep psychological warfare around surrender and also sleep and restoration and regeneration. And so I've really been realizing how important the dream world is to advance our lives here on Earth. Anyways, it's been more clear to me now than ever how important it is to be the anchor in the storm. I wanted to share a couple of ways that I become the anchor and get myself through any difficult season. So one of the first things I do is I recognize that the storm is feedback. The universe is mental and this reality is a mirror. So whatever I'm currently navigating or moving through, I've stopped asking myself, why is this happening to me? And instead, I ask myself, what is this showing me? What am I supposed to learn from this? How and who am I being for this to be my reality right now? Because the storms are never random. They're actually mirrors that point out where our foundation is shaky. Maybe it's the way we've been running our business. Maybe it's the boundary that we've been avoiding setting with that certain person. Or maybe it's a specific identity that we've outgrown and our reality keeps showing us, hey, you need to transcend this pattern and loop that you're in. Because think about it, when things are calm, it's very easy to keep living misaligned, ignoring the cracks in your foundation. Like for me, I tend to push myself very hard. I have a Capricorn Mars. If you know anything about astrology, we go hard. And so I tend to reach burnout often. But this eclipse season has brought the storm and it has shown me that I can't keep doing that. I can't hide from the cracks anymore. I have to prioritize health, or else suffer the consequences. So when the storm comes, you are being highly alerted to what's wrong and what needs fixing. So maybe that's the leaky roof starts dripping, or the loose window starts rattling. In business, that could look like your systems start breaking down the moment you get more clients. Or you realize that the way you've been marketing doesn't feel aligned anymore. So know that the storm is inviting you to grow sturdier roots. Another thing I love to do during the storms is remind myself that calm is currency. When everything feels chaotic, your grounded nervous system is the anchor. The way you regulate yourself is the way you regulate your results. Anyone can make decisions when things are easy, but the person who can regulate when life gets messy, that person is building a very strong capacity for the reality of business. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. It is literally self-development on crack. And so when life tests you and you can learn to respond instead of react, when you can stay clear instead of scattered, that's what actually holds the results that you're building. The storm will test you, but your calm is what pays the bills. You know that if you're navigating something really difficult right now, it is testing the fuck out of your boundaries. So if you're being the anchor, your edges are going to be tested like crazy. And you're going to have to learn boundaries that protect your energy and keep you tethered to what actually matters. It is so easy to let people, clients, or distractions pull on your energy if you're not being locked the fuck in. Being anchored means making sure that your energy is going towards your vision and not everybody else's demands. The stronger the storm, the more sacred your boundaries have to become. Storms craft your identity and you weather them by becoming someone who cannot be shaken. They will test you and they will reveal who you really are at your core. Because when things start to fall apart, if you don't have values and you don't know what you stand for, you're going to be sucked into the ocean. When you are anchored in who you are, your character, your values, your vision, your mission, nothing can move you. You simply are. You become this iron presence of power. And you just feel so stable in yourself no matter what's happening around you because you got you. You know yourself and you know that that is the best protection. Now, during a storm, there is a lot of noise. You need to become the signal. Clarity is magnetic and it is your superpower. As an anchor, knowing your message, your why, and your unique lane, and staying rooted there no matter the noise. That's how your people are going to find you and are going to look at you as a leader because you're not contributing to static or panic. You're becoming a sovereign frequency. During a storm, everyone has an opinion, and your inner critic is extremely loud. The whole world is screaming, but you have to remember to get back to your divine frequency, your goddess state. And that's how you'll help other people calibrate to the frequency of calm too. You want to be adaptable without losing yourself. Storms will always force us to pivot. Systems break, plans change, opportunities disappear, relationships end. Flexibility is required, but with nuance. Being adaptable to the new situation does not mean abandoning yourself to keep the peace. You can bend without breaking, and you can shift without losing your essence. Anchoring within the storm means that you stay fluid with your actions but firm in your identity. The most successful people aren't the ones who never change. They're the ones who can adapt while still being unmistakably themselves. Keeping a strong vision when you're in the eye of a storm makes you the lighthouse. When you are navigating those tumultuous waters, you cannot see much in front of you. Things start looking foggy. It's tempting to throw in the towel, stop moving entirely. But here's where your long-term picture comes into play. Hold the vision so strongly in your mind of your life, your business, who you're becoming, because that's the light that will cut through the chaos. Anchoring means you keep your eyes on that vision and not just the mess in front of you. Again, the 3D will be completely chaotic when you are manifesting your highest vision within your imagination. The storm will pass, but the lighthouse will always be there to guide you home. Now let's talk about the gift of these crazy storms. They always strip away what was never strong enough to last. It's painful, but it's purification. Anything that remains after a storm is real. You'll know the truth of who you actually are, the systems and relationships that actually support you, and the strength of the foundations that can actually hold your growth. Being the anchor means trusting that this rebuild is sacred. You're not starting over, you're just building on what's solid, what's aligned, and what's meant to carry you into this next season. So I've been currently going through pretty deep revelations about the people in my life, and no matter what I go through, I always turn the mirror back onto myself. And I say, what is this teaching me? What is this showing me about my own lack of boundaries, about my lack of personal power, about the patterns that I continuously loop in my life? And I've noticed that there's running themes of abandonment and lack of resources and lack of care and support from other people. And so when I ask myself, what's the symbolism here? What's the message? What's the higher learning? It really comes down to not over-functioning and not people-pleasing to keep any sort of peace, and not losing myself in another person to receive love or validation. I've been tested so much this year because I've been in an 8th house perfection year in astrology. In astrology, the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses are malefic houses. Malefic simply means capable of causing harm or destruction, especially by supernatural means. And these houses are really associated with areas of difficulty, loss, or transformation. They're very challenging houses. Now, the 8th house has to do with other people and your dependency on them. I've been put in positions this year where I've realized I do depend on people. No man is an island. But as a result, it has really brought up my own wounds around trust and intimacy and dependence. And because my 8th house is ruled by Pisces, Pisces tends to have no boundaries because they are naturally limitless and merged with the divine. And so imagine Pisces energy in the 8th house. It's no boundaries or blurred lines with other people. These are the themes and lessons that I've personally been learning in my life this year. And so I've had to learn very strong boundaries. And I've had to create a very strong identity for myself so I don't lose myself in the wills of other people. I've had to practice extreme levels of emotional regulation, literally watching life be lit on fire and just being regulated in that. Now, thank God I knew that I was approaching an 8th house year, so I didn't fully crash out. I actually created an entire product called the Divine Timing GPT for anyone who also wants to know what to expect at any given year of their life. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll link it below. It's basically a custom GPT that can walk you through conversationally what to expect if you have your birth chart information. And also there's a beautiful PDF guide that goes with it, so be sure to grab that. But yes, being the anchor amidst the storm means that you will walk out of any challenging situation unscathed, stronger than ever, forged by the fire. And you're just gonna deepen so much self-love and self-trust because of how deeply you have your own back. So if you're going through any type of storm, whether that is personal life, business life, health crises, always turn the mirror back to yourself because that's where the medicine is. So I hope you absolutely loved this episode and I will see you in the next one.